Hello and welcome to today's 30-minute masterclass. We're looking at what SEO and keywords can mean to you and your online presence, starting with what you need to know. So again, this is a one-on-one session. We are going slowly through the topic so that you can get a good understanding. Let's get started. My name is Barbara Jemmett and I'm the founder of Your Entrepreneurial Spirit. We often abbreviate it to Y.E.S. I'm a business strategist for mainly women entrepreneurs, and I help you to connect with your customers and grow your bottom line, both online and offline. It's my pleasure to spend this 30 minutes with you today to bring you some information that I think is key and sometimes is a little bit hard to understand, but we're going to move on. As usual, I like to start this particular 30-minute session with a quick quote. And this one is one that you can remember, I'm pretty sure. It says, "Social may be sexy, but search pays the bills." And it comes to us from Tom Pick. And that's basically why we're here today. Sexy is nice, as we know, but we do need to know how we can utilize our online space to be able to pay our bills and to bring in customers. So that's why SEO is so important. The items we're going to cover today are: how do search engines work? Why are they even necessary? What to think about when you're designing content so that you can help the search engines do what they need to do. And then we're going to look at keywords and finding the right ones for you. The whole purpose of this 30 minutes is to cut through some of the mystique and the geeky stuff around SEO, and to understand what the somewhat hidden secrets are to making SEO work for you. We're going to look at specific terms. We're going to just take a quick glance at how people actually find you online. We're going to open up a couple of search engines that you may not be familiar with or not think about in that manner, and then what we need to do to keep the search engines happy. So let's start right at the top. How do search engines work? Well, search engines are websites that you enter words or phrases into it when you're searching, and we know how to do that. Most of us do it very well. The usual one that comes to mind is Google, but there are others, and we'll look at those in a second. Now, Google is constantly searching and indexing content online so that it can serve up to you based on what items you actually type into the search. We all know the algorithms, and we've heard about them in Facebook, but they're definitely here in Google. Excuse me. They change all the time, but there are certain things that are constant, and we're going to look at those. We need to make sure that we have the right mix of keywords and great content and some optimization to be able to serve up what we need the search engines to look at. The two major functions of a search engine are crawling and indexing, and providing search results. So when we look at, before we look at this particular item, let's look at crawling and indexing. All the information that's online can visually be thought of as a spider's web. So search engines are the spiders that are going out and spinning their webs and adding content that they find that is either new or altered and serving it up to the people that are searching. So spiders read code and they read text. They do not read images. So I'm going to talk about how that is addressed in a moment. Google is constantly working to make sure their software is as human-like as possible. So your content must always be easy to read. Anything else, any code or HTML that is the computer speak or the computer code that you're not familiar with, it needs to be appealing to search engines as well. If it's not, it's a spider. It's just going to pass on by and go and look for something a little quicker to get to. Search engines index content more or less relevant to There's certain keywords that people type in. So more relevant to the search that you put in or less relevant to the search you put in. Either way. Making sure that you have appropriate keywords and related words is very important for you to be able to find the information and to be ranked for the information that you put online. So these are some of the most popular search engines, and of course Google is at the top. Everybody knows that one. YouTube is a huge search engine and it's owned by Google, so you can see that they go hand in hand. Pinterest is another very popular search engine, although people don't necessarily see it as being a search engine, but it truly is. Another one is Bing. We have Yahoo. We have Ask.com. There are several, more than several. There's a lot of other search engines as well. Quora, if you are familiar with that, should also be considered a search engine. So you can actually use these things. It's anything that you put in a request and it spits out answers is a search engine, but these are the ones most common. So when you think of the spider's web, we look at it this way. We say that we're going out for content so that we can generate search results. And we do this by, or should I say, Google does this by cluing into keywords that people type in that generate links, and we call them backlinks as well. And then the more of this that is happening, the more that people are looking for this particular word or phrase, it helps with the ranking. So certain elements are viewed as incredibly important, regardless of what algorithms are going on or what changes are being made to, let's say, Google as a search engine, because between, I don't know, 250, maybe 500 times a year, maybe that's a little bit much, but you'll see what I mean. They're making tweaks or changes to the algorithm. And so that each time that happens, it could affect you somewhat. But these particular items never change. And they are important year in and year out. Your keywords, your phrases, or keyword phrases, if you will, and related content. You take care of those, they will always be relevant. Backlinks, which we will explain in a little bit. Your website design. If you mess up your website design, it is definitely going to have an impact on your SEO. And also fresh content. We're looking for originality and quality content to be able to rank as high as possible. So why is SEO necessary? Well, it is necessary because it talks about how search engines provide you power in the way that you can actually give out information and find information. When you design your site and write your content according to the parameters that the search engine needs to work, you are relating to what's going on, and it's very, very happy to serve up that information that you're putting on. This means that the search engine actually understands what it is you're trying to say and what information you want to give out, instead of it being confused. Because if the search engine is confused, it's just going to pass on by and ignore you. Search engines can put your content in front of the right people at the right time. You want to serve up what people are looking for, and that's what they do. And the other thing is, the higher you rank, the more free and relevant traffic is being served to you. Now, some of the important SEO factors that we need to consider is everything is out there to be served up. Remember, I told you earlier that a video clip or a photo cannot be read because search engines can only read text or code. Well, that's why we need to make sure that when we're naming these things, these images and these videos, that we name them in a specific way to tell the search engines exactly what they are, so it knows how to classify them. You should focus on making your focus on attracting the right traffic to your site. I should say the relevant traffic. I just fell all over that. And keep important search engine rankings in mind when you're designing and creating your content. Tips for SEO-friendly content on your blog, because a lot of this is related back to that, because the blog is very often a very busy page on your site. And so Google, or should I say the search engines, are all over that all the time. So number one, make your URLs SEO-friendly. So when we create a title, sometimes we create some crazy titles. That doesn't mean that that whole block of text needs to be in the URL. Trim it down, make it easy to relate to, and just keep it down to its essence. Take out all these superfluous words, if you will. Add your target keywords and phrases, the things that you want to be ranked for on this particular post or page or document. Make sure it's early in the post, so up to the top. The first couple of sentences probably best. Use related keywords and phrases. Search engines like to see these words. So if it can relate them to your target keyword, it's even better. It really likes that, and it will help it to recognize what it is you're trying to do. Now go long with your content. It used to be that you could get by with a 300 or a 500 word post, and it would actually help you rank. These days, though, we're looking for more in-depth content. And so if you can do at least 1,800 words, it will definitely help you with your ranking, and you will definitely have a bigger impact with your readers, as long as it's quality content, of course. Use your headings, your H1, 2, and 3 headings, and make sure your keyword is in that heading. These are called header tags, and they think of them as headlines and subheadlines. And make sure that they include the keywords that you're trying to rank for that particular post or document. The next thing is place your target keywords at the very beginning of your title. So if possible, have your keyword within the first 3 words of your title. Your blog post should begin with this, because that's what we want to focus the page on. We know that a title is a title, but we want to be able to focus it. So bring it to the front of the title, to the left of the title, as close to the front as you can. Outbound links. Now, search engines really like to see you reaching out and participating with other websites and pages, which means that you link to popular sites. And when you do this on a regular basis, when it makes sense and where it makes sense, your ranking will improve. Internal linking. You should be linking within your own blog or pages to relevant content on your site. And this just goes to show, to bring it all together and allow the search engine to recognize, yeah, this is what this site is about. And because it can relate content to each other, it builds its own internal web, and that helps you to rank. Get social. Let's see some sharing buttons, social sharing buttons up on your site to make it easier for people to share your content and to build the backlinks back to their own properties. Because what happens is if somebody's on their phone and they're scrolling and they're reading your content and they get to the bottom and there's no way for them to share it, they're actually probably just going to go back to what they were doing. You haven't helped them. So for them to now have to go back up to the URL, select the URL, copy the URL, paste the URL, that's a whole lot of work, and it generally doesn't get done that often. So please keep that in mind. The next item is make sure your website content, all those things, is user-friendly, and also that it's mobile-friendly in its design. Remember, most people are reading these things on their phones and tablets these days. So does it look the way that you think it should look in these areas? The last 3 in this particular set of SEO-friendly content on your blog is page loading speed. Now, this is actually an issue, because if people have to wait for the page to load and then wait and wait, they're going to click away. One of the things that you can fix really easily is to make sure any images that you have on the pages are compressed before you upload them onto your site. Now, there are a lot of compression tools out there. just Google that if you'd like, but it really does make a difference, because sometimes you can reduce the size of one image by close to 80%, based on, its opening size and the tool that you use and how it's compressed, without losing any look and feel issues. This is key because the more pictures you put on that page, if you're putting 6 and 7 and 8 meg pictures and you've got 10 of those on the page is going to be slower to load. But you can reduce that by compressing the pictures. Search engines give a secure website. That's one with an SSL certificate. You know it when you see it because it has the little lock beside the URL. They give it a better ranking, and these days they are even pushing down sites and pages that don't have an SSL ranking, so it's less easy for you to find them. So be aware of that. Incoming backlinks, when you have a lot of inbound links, like people are sharing your information and referring to it, when that's happening on your site, you'll be ranking higher for specific keywords, and those are the ones out there how they found you to begin with. So the action steps you need to look at here is to make sure that you that your blog and your pages cater to those items, those tips that we just looked at, because they're all ranking factors. And this simple exercise will immediately and positively help you with your rankings. The next item we're going to look at is when you're designing your content with your search engines in mind. We come back to, again, the keywords and the phrases that are telling your search engines what your content is about and why it should care and where it should actually categorize it. And effective SEO means including clues in your design and your coding. But basically, even if you didn't understand what I just said there, here's the big thing to remember. Always write for human beings first. Always write for human beings first. That's all you have to remember. Because this is what's going on. Who is it you're actually writing for? You need to answer that question. So as we write for human beings first, which is kind of a given, but the way that people used to work with search engines in the past was to write content for search engines. So it's a different way of looking at things. So we're talking about natural language. We're not talking about continuously saying search engine, search engine, search engine. We're putting it in context. My content is being exposed to a search engine, something like that. But always remember that you are writing for human beings who are your ideal clients or your potential clients, because you're trying to build know, like, and trust. So always get that down and remember that it's about your message. You're writing for people and it's about your message. Quality content is absolutely the most important thing, and create content, I should say, that people can actually feel something about. It could be you want them to relate to it in a successful way, or should I say something that a supportive way, or maybe it's something that you want to stir a little, I don't know, conflict, if you will. That's another way of going. But you want to make sure to touch the individual with your writing. And as you do that, we have these design considerations that we're going to define for you here. Alt tags is the first one. Now remember I told you that Google can't read pictures. So whenever you add a picture, there's always the opportunity to add a description. Depending on what platform you're on, it could say description, it could say alt tag, but this is where you'll put information that would actually explain what it is, because this is what Google is looking for, so it can place that image. It wants to know what it is because it cannot read the image on its own. Meta tags are a snippet of text that lets engines know what your site is about and what the page is about. So it's a very short blurb that goes, this post is about fill in the blank. And sitemaps are something that help search engines index every page that should be indexed on your site. Some pages you don't want to index, but most of them you will. So let's talk about understanding how things link together, because this is also part of your design. So understanding the link structure goes like this. Again, I refer to the fact that the web looks like a spider's web, and the strands that connect the pages together are called links. Now, having the proper structure will help with your SEO, and also having a very poor structure will hinder your SEO somewhat, so keep that in mind. The proper structure really does start with your home page. And from this home page, you are linking out to relevant pages. I think you know that even if you haven't actually looked at it in those terms. Those relevant pages then link out to other related pages. But the whole thing is, it should be easy for the search engine to trace each one of those pages back to the home page. But not all links are created equal, however. So now that you understand the link structure, you want to make sure that any incoming or outgoing links pertain to your target keyword, so that you can outperform your competitors in the rankings for that keyword or that key phrase. Develop relationships with authority sites. So an authority site is a site that's more well known than yours, that is in your niche or does some of the same work or supports what you do. So develop relationships with those so that you can share information back and forth. Now, for the most part, if you're the lesser known, you'll be sharing the content of the more well-known authority. But eventually, it can turn and they can do the same thing. And add links to authority sites on your own site. It's not always about you. It's where is the relevant information for your reader. If some other site has that and it is worthwhile and it's beneficial to the reader, definitely link out to it. So what you want to do here is to check your website for readability. Item number 2 is create 2 outgoing links. So I'll leave that here and you will see this anyway as you go. And to make sure you can do this right now, to optimize your alt tags and your meta tags to include keywords. So the keyword, remember, is also in the title of your post. So this image that you're creating will have the keyword from your title within its keyword structure. So let's talk now then about keywords finally. I mean, I've been saying that the whole time, but we're going with keywords and finding the right ones for you. So answers you need to know about this kind of are a little bit determining what the lingo is or what people have been getting away with calling some of these things. So the first thing I'd like to bring your attention to is, what the heck is a long tail keyword? People kind of like, I don't understand that. And it's okay. We understand what a keyword is. It's a word or a couple of words that you're looking for. So coffee shops in your town. So coffee shops, and then you'd name your town. That would be a keyword search. But long tail keywords generally are a little bit more descriptive, and they will return fewer results because it's more fine-tuned. So this will be coffee shops that have, I'm at a loss, I can't even think of something here, but coffee shops that do something in the town of X. So you get lesser traffic with that, instead of just doing coffee shops and you're getting millions of hits. Because you fine-tuned it, you'll be coming down to a smaller number of hits. But these hits are truly relevant because people are actually looking for that coffee shop in that town. Long tail keywords should be included whenever possible because it makes things a whole lot easier. But how do you perform a simple keyword search? It goes like this. You know how to do this. Go to your search box and type in the name or the word or phrase that you're looking for. If it is a phrase, put quotation marks around the term that you want to look for. It holds the words together and says these are the words I'm actually looking for in this order. Look for as many results as you can that have been returned. And if it's fewer than 50,000 pages in the results, this is considered a medium to low level of competition for those keywords. So we're talking about targeting the right keywords. This means finding low competition words, but it's not the only guarantee of consistent traffic. People do have to be searching for the term for it to be of value at all. So when you're looking into medium and low competition, you also want to see a significant number of monthly searches for that particular word or phrase. If it's not there, then move on, look at your keyword, readjust, and do that. You might want to consider opening a Google AdWords account with the Keyword Planner tool to help you research keywords. You should start researching keywords and phrases relevant to your products and services as soon as possible. And what you're looking for ultimately is you're looking for keywords and phrases with a minimum of 1 to 500 searches per day or an average of 3,000 to 15,000 searches a month. That's when you know you're onto the right keyword. And then you're going to pass judgment on these keywords. So consider the following. A long-tail keyword is an example of a phrase that usually has a small amount of targeted traffic. I only want the people that want to go for coffee in this particular town. Those targeted people are much more likely to become customers in the future because they're not looking for coffee shops in LA. They are looking for coffee shops here. Long tail keywords are often more valuable than those with more traffic. So because you picked a generic coffee shops, clearly you're going to get a lot more hits. That's not necessarily valuable to you. Judge keyword value by identifying buyer keywords. Phrases that contain the word buy or price are probably telling you that people are actually looking to buy if they can source what they're looking for. They're ready to make a purchase, so keep that in mind. That's why you want your keywords to be well defined. And then we come to the common mistakes. Well, you know what? Here's what you shouldn't do. You shouldn't be mentioning your target keyword over and over. You're not going to create fluff pieces because we really do want to be known for quality, and Google is just going to say, no, this is not worth ranking you for anyway. The other thing is, don't be wasting time creating content that doesn't deliver quality. Some other errors are not developing relevant backlinks, not adding or keeping the page up to date with fresh stuff, and not creating a sitemap. And you can do that quite easily. Depending on your platform, it happens in different ways. So something that you really need to understand is SEO. And what we've done is we've taken a very high level look at it and explained a couple of the terms. So I hope this was helpful to you today. I'm about ready to close this. So before we go, here's the closing quote. Always, regardless of whether you're talking to your ideal customer or to Google, you want to speak their language, not yours. So we're at the end of our 30 minutes, and I am fully aware of your time crunches, and I appreciate you being here. It has been so much fun. I thank you for joining us today, and I encourage you to look out for our next masterclass, which will happen in a couple of weeks. Again, thank you for spending your time with me, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. My name is Barbara Jemmett, and I'm from Your Entrepreneurial Spirit. Bye now.